Grand Rising people, welcome to Advance of Vitality, where we discuss news, tips, and takes on health, wealth, and the world at large. Here's your crypto news update. So to start off, we have Bitcoin up 2% at 41,717. Ethereum up 2.3% at 3,118. And we are at 21 on the Fear and Greed Index, still in the zone of extreme fear. So let's get into the story of the day, which is LinksDAO NFT prices jump after Steph Curry purchase. So we spoke about LinksDAO before, about how they're creating golf courses and they're creating their own golf ecosystem as a DAO. And Steph Curry is actually an avid golfer. So let's get into the story. LinksDAO is a new DAO looking to finance the creation of a physical golf course and club by selling NFTs, blockchain-based deeds linked to digital or real assets. In this case, the NFTs represent the right to purchase actual memberships to the Future Country Club. The floor price of the LinksDAO NFT collection jumped today after Golden State Warriors Steph Curry purchased Leisure membership and LinksDAO Global membership NFTs for 0.29 ETH, which is $892, and 1.12 ETH, which is $3,442.89, respectively. Curry's purchase helped push the price for the former to 0.72, which is $2,209. So that was it pretty much doubled, almost tripled in price after he bought it. The LinksDAO Global membership NFT most recently sold for 2 ETH. So that's amazing that he jumped the price like that just from him buying it. Then LinksDAO sent the tweet. It says, "Welcome to LinksDAO, Steph Curry. See you on the first tee." And like I said before, Curry is an avid golfer and serves as executive producer of the ABC miniature golf competition show Holy Moly. Outside of sports, Curry has also become an avid NFT collector, recently purchasing Rumble Kong League and Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs. So launched in December 2021, LinksDAO released its first NFT collection on OpenSea. The collection took in 2,092 ETH at the time, worth $10.5 million. The recent market dump puts that amount closer to 6.4 million, but this is still big news. And honestly, it shows again, the power of celebrity, as Steph Curry jumped into this project again, and this project jumps. Probably going to see, this is what I actually did mention in the last video about, what celebrities we will see jumping into this, as many of them are golfers, and if the PGA is going to, make any moves on this and look into it. And I think Steph Curry getting involved in this will give it the initial validation that it needs for, bigger names to get involved. The names that we're looking for. We're looking for Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson. We're looking for the newer guys. Like, I'm not big into golf, but we're looking for like the Dustin Johnsons. I think like that's one of the dudes that's in there. We're gonna be looking for those kind of guys. Even Michael Jordan. If Michael Jordan, because Steph Curry actually interviewed Michael Jordan for the Ryder Cup, which was like this big golf tournament where golfers represent their country and then they like participate in this tournament. So if Michael Jordan can get involved in this, if a lot of other people get involved in this, because pretty much it's a country club. So if more and more people get involved in this, we're going to see this project jump. Moving on from that, we have the Associated Press is launching an NFT marketplace on Polygon to support journalism. So the AP is launching its own photo NFT marketplace, which will feature Pulitzer Prize winning shots. Amid an ongoing frenzy of brands and companies entering the growing NFT industry, the Associated Press will join the fray with its own marketplace full of photo NFTs from its award-winning photojournalist. Set to launch on January 31st, the marketplace will feature an array of photos, including some that won the Pulitzer Prize, as well as digitally enhanced depictions of photographers' work. The that's interesting. Definitely interesting. So the not-for-profit news cooperatives marketplace will run on Polygon, a sidechain scaling solution for Ethereum, and was built by blockchain infrastructure firm Zua. The AP's initial drops will be spread out over a series of weeks starting on January 31st, with images focused on topics such as war, climate, and space. Shots from photographers such as Emilio Marinati and Oded Balilti, as seen above, will be included in the first waves. Each NFT will feature detailed metadata or stored information about the shot in question. According to a release, the metadata will feature information about the time, date, and location of each photo, along with the equipment and camera settings used to capture the image. So we have the Associated Press looking to get in on the NFT wave. They're launching their own NFT marketplace. So this is actually good for, people who are photographers for the Associated Press. They will now have the opportunity to take their work and, sell it as NFTs, which will be of higher value than what they would usually get for them. The question that I ask is, I wonder how this is going to work for celebrities, and then how is it going to work for, paparazzi photos or photos at like award ceremonies, or, even for basketball players. Like how are these going to work? Like, because Associated Press is usually at those places. So, and sooner or later, they're going to expand into that. But the question is, I'm looking at this and I'm looking at NFTs and how more and more people are getting involved in NFTs. And I'm asking, of course, it's in a bubble, but when the bubble pops, what are we going to see in terms of the price? Are we going to see the prices come back to earth, or are we going to see the prices still, in a moon base, it's still in the ISS? So it's very interesting to see. We got more people getting into the NFT space. And let's move on to the next story, which is FinTech firms received 62% of the $4.9 billion raised by African tech companies in 2021. So a lot of venture capitalist firms are looking at Africa and seeing that Africa is definitely, a place with a very bright future. The continent is booming. Different places like Kenya, like I mentioned before yesterday, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana. These places are, not only building up when it comes to the agriculture, but they also building up in terms of the tech companies that are popping up. There's a lot of different tech firms that people are, coming with, and it's going to be multifaceted, and people are seeing that. So let's read on. It says, out of the 4.9 billion in funding that was raised by African technology companies in 2021, almost 2/3 of this went to fintech companies, data from a new report has shown. In terms of deals wherein the capital raised exceeded $40 million, fintechs accounted for 40% of such deals. Okay. As shown in the latest Africa Investment Report, the fintech dominance in 2021 eventually culminated into a period with the highest number of single non-M&A, which is mergers and acquisitions deals, above $100 million on record so far. The report also shows that Nigeria has the biggest share of fintech firms that raised more than $100 million. Meanwhile, the report suggested that the COVID-19 pandemic could well be in the main explanation for the surge, not only in the funding of fintechs, but non-fintech firms as well. Logistics and energy follow by volume or funding, but the most recent wave of digitization, perhaps boosted by COVID-19, is propelling sectors such as e-commerce, agriculture, and healthcare, concluded the study report. However, the same report does concede that most of the funds raised in 2021 were concentrated in a few projects, the report explains. Although highly concentrated in a few cases, which only represents less than 3% of the total disclosed deals but captures over 55% of total disclosed funding. This investment size carries significant weight and acts as a pull factor for several investors. Besides equity financing, the Africa Investment Report data shows that debt financing is increasingly becoming a viable funding route. To support this assertion, the report points to the fact that 6.6% of total disclosed funding in 2021 was debt financing. So we have this right here, this story showing that a lot of money is still flowing into African tech companies. And as I said before, Nigeria is getting the biggest share of this. So what I'm envisioning is we're going to be seeing, Nigeria, creating a lot of these tech companies, and then it's flowing out throughout the rest of the continent. So we'll go from Nigeria and then go to Ghana and then go to Cameroon, Ivory Coast, and it'll keep spreading. It depends on the solutions, depending on what's there, but it's always more feasible for them to, spread their tech and test out their tech in neighboring markets instead of going overseas immediately. So, especially when it says that's e-commerce, agriculture, and healthcare, you have like Jumia, which is a huge African e-commerce company. It's supposed to be like the Amazon of Africa. And then agriculture, which I mentioned already before, which is like booming. And then we have healthcare, which, Africa definitely, especially after, the whole entire situation with the pandemic, we need to see a push into more healthcare and a push into creating a more seamless healthcare system within the continents of Africa. So definitely a good story right there. And we're going to keep it in Africa with the next story, which is Morocco is number one for Bitcoin trading in North Africa. The Kingdom of Morocco is the leader for Bitcoin trading across North Africa in 2021, despite its illegal status. So estimates from AAA, a Singaporean cryptocurrency provider and aggregator, state that 0.9 million people, or roughly 2.4% of Morocco's total population, currently own cryptocurrency. That puts the kingdom as the top country in North Africa and in the top 50 holders of cryptocurrency population percentage, just ahead of Portugal. Data from Useful Tulips, a platform that tracks peer-to-peer Bitcoin trading across the globe, confirms the trend. The Kingdom of the West, as it's known locally, has been the runaway North African leader for BTC trades in the past year, pipped by only Saudi Arabia when weighing up the entire Middle East and North Africa region. Unfortunately for crypto enthusiasts, there has been no change in crypto laws in recent years. According to Morocco's Foreign Exchange Office, it will not support a hidden payment system that is not backed by any financial institution. While the law came into being in 2017, the ban has not stymied adoption, and as the data shows, Moroccan crypto enthusiasts continue to circumvent the ruling. Nearby, the Egyptian pound is gaining on the Moroccan dirham for BTC trades. On the 30-day period, Useful Tulips shows that Egypt is $20,000 short of catching Morocco. It remains illegal to trade Bitcoin and crypto in Egypt, but even if a tiny percentage of its 102 million population and 360 billion GDP engaged in the illicit activity, it won't move the needle. To bolster Morocco's orange-tinted future, Harmattan Energy is set to build one of Africa's largest wind farms. The purpose of the 900 MW behemoth wind site set in Dakhla, the Sahara region, is to power blockchain computing. As Bitcoin mining and trading is currently outlawed, the group cannot openly purport Bitcoin mining. Nonetheless, as Cointelegraph reported on the project's call to tender in 2018, selling at least 20% of its electricity output back to the Moroccan government could be a workable solution. First, results are expected from Harmattan at the end of the quarter 1 this year. Elsewhere, in April 2020, Binance added support for crypto purchases using the Moroccan dirham via a third-party platform, Simplex. It works the same way that Naira purchases for BTC works in Nigeria. It's not quite as easy to buy BTC on Binance as it is in the nearby UAE, which has a direct fiat on-ramp, but it's a promising start. Time will tell whether Moroccan lawmakers backtrack on banning Bitcoin. As it stands, Morocco will continue to lead the charge in North Africa, even though it remains an underground activity. So we have it right here as these countries, because the funny part about it is, while Nigeria is the leader in Africa in terms of Bitcoin adoption and crypto adoption and has been for the past 2 years, it's actually illegal, which was made fairly recently, to purchase Bitcoin in Nigeria. And as you can see, it's illegal in Egypt and it's illegal in Morocco as well. Of course, naturally, this is done because they don't want the majority of the population to jump into these cryptocurrencies and then undermine their currency, which ironically they have been destroying. But it is a promising, bit of news to see that there's still 900,000 people in Morocco who are deciding that they want to hold cryptocurrencies, and those people are most likely going to be pretty prosperous in the future as crypto adoption continues to grow. And in all honesty, all it takes is a little nudging from the Western, nations and the G7 and the G8 nations to really get the smaller companies, or smaller countries moving in the direction of legalizing cryptocurrencies, saying that, people can trade cryptocurrencies. But of course, you know how it goes with governments. They always want to make sure that they have control of anything. It's like the governments are like the parents of the people, which unfortunately is, it's not supposed to be like that. But, that's how the world has become in terms of governments and citizenships, in terms of, the way things are run. I personally look at it and I say to myself, it's really like, they romanticize the brutality of dictatorships, when in reality, these governments don't really, they're not really that far off from dictatorships, when they're telling people what they can and cannot do with their money, what they can and cannot do with their time, especially with, the pandemic recently happening. So they're telling people you can't go outside, and then you can't do this and you can't do that. Ultimately, what's going to happen is these governments are going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until people decide that they're going to push back, as we see in France, as Macron said that he was going to make life miserable for people who were not vaccinated. And as a result, they had even more people pop up at their protest, which was probably 100,000 at their protest than was there before. And it was probably people who were actually vaccinated who went to these protests. But ultimately, what it shows is that people will undermine the government. And if the government is not doing their job, then people are going to take it back into their own hands, and they're going to say that you guys are useless. We're going to do it on our own because you guys are useless. So very intriguing, very promising news coming out of Morocco. We hear also about the wind farm, that they're going to have a wind farm being created for blockchain purposes, which ultimately will be used for mining, when things start to open up, when they start to realize that there are projects, there are crypto projects that will benefit their country and benefit, their economy more. They're going to open things up more. And I'm expecting that out of Egypt. I'm going to have a video about a specific cryptocurrency project that I think will work very well in Egypt. I just have a lot of different videos to make. Definitely right now I'm in like a transitionary phase where I want to make sure I have, I have a better mic, getting a better setup. So now I can start making videos that are a little bit clearer, and I can start incorporating more visuals into it, and, really start getting this going. Ultimately, though, we're going to keep going with the news updates. And I hope you learned much more today. And I wish you a beautiful day. Peace.